Hi, everybody. Welcome to Introducing Agent Insights for Salesforce. I'm Max Bell, a Senior Systems Engineer at Lucidworks, and I've worked in enterprise software for 25 years. And I'm joined by Robert. Robert, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Robert Lucarini. I'm a Senior Software Engineer at Lucidworks. I've actually previously it was on the support team, so I'm happy to introduce or to walk through the demo of our new tool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So first, I want to talk a little bit about what we've done at Lucidworks around customer success and case deflection, because a lot of our customers are already working in that use case, and we've learned a lot from them, and we put that into our Agent Insights for Salesforce. So I thought that might be interesting to all of you as a startup. To start with, so Lenovo has been a customer for a few years, and not only are they increasing conversion, but they are reducing the amount of zero result searches that they get with this tool. And a lot of it is with signal boosting. In other words, users are telling them by what they click, what's popular for a certain choice. And if there's a zero result search, we find ways to have alternate search strategies that we can automatically deploy. So you can see we mentioned these closed loop analytics where we can not only can the business users learn from the zero result searches, but they can also learn from their peers that are telling them, oh, you know what, I like this result better, I'm going to click this. And then that result bubbles to the top of the search results. So Lenovo's saw a dramatic reduction in support cases that are being opened. That's effectively case deflection by providing better search to their support articles. Another customer we've had for over 5 years is Red Hat. And of course, their bread and butter is providing support for paying customers that basically pay just so they can open tickets, so they can get support from Red Hat when they get stuck. And what they noticed was after they put in Fusion and started monitoring what people were clicking and boosting those results, and finding zero result searches and so on, they were able to increase their click-through rate, basically double it, and cut their case support load by 50,000. And that basically freed up their customer support team to focus on solving real problems rather than just answering the same issue again that's already been solved before and is already documented. We can make it so that those results are provided automatically to these customers. We also were able to reduce the footprint of the servers that they were using to host this support solution. So they also got a reduction in TCO. Here's kind of the click-through rate curve for when they went live back in 2015 with our original solution. Now, since then, a lot of enhancements have gone in there, and Red Hat has taught us some things, and we've enhanced the product dramatically for Red Hat as well. But right away, when they put this product in place, you'll notice we went from about 25% click-through rate, which was pretty meager, right? That meant that 3 out of 4 customers that came to search for answers to their problems with Red Hat Linux were not getting the answer they wanted, right? And they basically did a search, got nothing, and had to search some more, maybe, or maybe go somewhere else, maybe open a ticket. But after we put this software in place, just immediately in a couple of weeks, you can see we get over 50, closer to 60 click-through rate here. And then after a few more enhancements, we were getting closer to an average of 70%. Now that means that 7 out of 10 users are getting the answer they want and not opening tickets to get a solution because they found the answer. So this is a dramatic reduction in labor, a dramatic improvement for the customer experience. And these users are getting more of what they want, more of what they're paying for, but they're engaging less of your support staff in order to do it so that we can focus on solving the hard problems rather than just re-answering the boring problems again and again and again, the ones that have already been solved. So we've created a number of solutions around customer support and case deflection, but one of them that I think is the most interesting and the one that we're here to talk about the most today is Agent Insights for Salesforce. And it's a Salesforce integration that reveals insight from Fusion. So if you look on the bottom right, you'll see we have this kind of representative um, employee that's been working in the same organization with the same tool for over 20 years. Like a lot of people use Salesforce today. They've been in that tool a long time, and no matter how good or bad that tool is, they know it like the back of their hand, and they don't want to change it. They feel like their security and their productivity is a function of staying in that user interface that they're used to. In this case, Salesforce. So Milton really likes Salesforce, just like he really likes his swing line red stapler that he's stroking right there. You guys might remember him from Office Space. So Agent Insights is a way to cater to users like Milton that don't want to change their work environment, but they do need some help in order to be more productive, right? So we've created a Lucidworks Fusion add-on, right? So this is, you have to already own Lucidworks Fusion, but then you can add this component from the Salesforce Lightning marketplace, right? And what it allows you to do is provide recommendations for given support cases for solutions, right? So we're basically coaching them, providing much more insight, not just from Salesforce, but from other siloed information sources you may have in your organization, like Confluence or SharePoint or Jira. And we'll show you some examples of those in the demo. And we actually have 2 demos for you today that I think you'll enjoy. Rob's going to do the first one for us. So some of the benefits of Agent Insights for Salesforce are that we personalize the content for a user. So when you log into Salesforce, and then pull up this Agent Insights panel, when you're looking at your support cases, we'll know what you've been interested in before. We know what cases you've been looking at. We know what topics you tend to work on because we have signals. We've been collecting that information and what that user's been doing in the past. And we can, not only that, all the other users have been telling us what they find useful as well. And we can feed that back to you. And if you're in a specific support division that maybe has a certain topic of interest, you're more likely to get results in that topic of interest than other topics that might be less pertinent for you. You know, maybe you do more Fusion SQL tickets and you do less tickets on Solar, right? So that would be an example of how we could personalize the experience for Milton, for example. Another thing we have for Milton is a SME finder where he can locate experts. Now, these experts are indicated within the Salesforce data. It's not like we had to have some extra effort to go out and find experts and that volunteer that they're good at a certain topic. All we do is we look at closed cases, successfully closed cases, and find out who worked that ticket. We can also go to engineering cases like in Jira and find out who worked the engineering topic related to those tickets. And if there's a certain topic of a ticket, like say Fusion, like say Solar, then we can find the people that are the most likely to answer questions about, say, Fusion SQL or Solar sharding, for example, right? And you can find that expert automatically because it just bubbles out of the data, and we just reveal that to the end user so they don't have to go on a fishing expedition to find the expert to ask more questions because they're not getting enough answers from the current system data. Right, they can find them all at once, and we don't have to keep that up to date. It's evergreen. Every time somebody closes a ticket, they're informing this system on who is most likely to know about a certain topic. So that's our SME finder. We think it's pretty cool. We think you'll like it too. There's also some document enrichment going on within Agent Insights for Salesforce, where certain cases are associated with related data. So for example, there might be Jira cases in engineering, and we know that the hardest bug cases in Lucidworks are ones where we have to open a Jira case also. And having that relationship available to you, even though it's not necessarily in Salesforce, will give you more insight. We can also, for example, know that there's certain knowledge-based articles on a topic like Fusion SQL. So we can find those articles also to solve this problem, even though those articles have never been placed in Salesforce and aren't necessarily the obvious choice for a particular case. So we can kind of discover tribal knowledge that's being encoded into these different systems and reveal it to these end users in various ways. And Robert will get a chance to show you some examples of those. So, we know we want this product to be valuable to a number of people in your organization. The executive, the head of customer support, really wants their agents to be more effective, right? We know that currently customer satisfaction can be low when people have problems, and that the agents can take a long time to solve a simple problem that's already been solved, right? So the head of customer support's happy when they use when they get more benefits from a product like Agent Insights for Salesforce. So the line of business users, like the customer support agent, like Milton here, and this is a different drawing of Milton. He wants to close cases faster. He wants to handle more cases and still go home on time. And then there's also a technologist, like an application admin. Maybe he's your Salesforce admin. He wants to be able to implement this solution very quickly and put it in place from the marketplace without learning a whole lot about Fusion. He just wants to turn it on and say, okay, everybody have fun with it. And this is another benefit that we've tried to build into Agent Insights for Salesforce. So, a few of the features that I highlighted are that it's already built in as Salesforce Lightning. It works on Fusion 4 and 5 if you have it currently. All of the content is contextualized for the specific case, Salesforce case that you've selected. And we're boosting content based on past user behavior. So we're learning all the time without having a manual process besides users getting value from the system already, and we can find subject matter experts. So I'm going to stop my share and let Rob show you his demo.
Cool, thank you, Max.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here I am in our demo Salesforce environment. I'm Robert. I'm going to play a kind of a new support member on the team. So here I'm presented with four new cases. Fusion is quite a large project. It's quite a large product with a lot of different facets and different functionalities. So I clicked into a case, and here I am at the landing page. This is the way we configured our case view. So we have the case here, we have the feed, all the different messages. We have the details about the case with a little description. It all scrolls for some reason. And if we see over to the right, this is our Lucidworks Agent Insights app. So here, as Max said, we get contextual information. There's 3 sections to this specific configuration. We have cases, and these are cases that these are associated cases from the same organization. So these are cases pulled from this company, from this client. And here we have, this is a reference. We can click. Actually, I can't click on this because this is actually our production data. And then we have the two other tabs that comprise of the Agent Insights. One is knowledge articles. And here, when we say knowledge articles, this is where we can actually plug in. This is where we can do the majority of our creation of content. As we said, we pull our content from our knowledge base, and Jira and other sources that deem helpful for our support members to close out cases. In our example, we pull from our pretty extensive knowledge base, and here we see that this information is contextual to the case I'm looking at. So we actually pull the fields from the case, the title and the description, and we run a query against our Fusion instance. And here we have some valuable knowledge articles that have been returned that will help me kind of understand It'll take the time out of me fishing for information through our knowledge base, through Slack, to get some information on the problem at hand, what they're trying to do, and go through steps in solving it. So here I've got kind of a head start about, okay, how do we upgrade Fusion? What are the different upgrade strategies for versions? So as a new support member, I'm already kind of in good hands, and I feel confident I can just dive right into the actual issue that they're having. In another example, let's pick the second one. Oops. We can see that someone wants to connect to SQL Server and load data into Fusion, but they want to use Kerberos. So I know nothing about Kerberos and how to set it up with the JDB data source. I could see there's no related cases that our client created that touch on SQL Server or Kerberos. So I click on knowledge base articles, and here we have connectors. So that's I'm getting warmer. And here we have use Kerberos for JDBC authentication. So I can click on this, and I'm redirected to our knowledge base. So this is something we can actually use for kind of case deflection. So this is on the back end. Some of the other strategies are kind of front end user portal. This is mainly on the back end. This is what our agents use to solve tickets. Now, customers will open tickets regardless, no matter if you put the right information in front of them at the start. So this is something that we can use for mainly just for the agent backend. So if I click on this, the next time I should go in, if we have if I solve this case by pointing them to this article, this article should be boosted the next time someone opens a case regarding JDBC and Kerberos. This will be popped up to the using signal recommendations should go to the top of the queue. I'm just going to go through a couple more. I'll just go through one more here. This one is talking about our rules. I'm new. I don't necessarily know what rules is. I look at our associated cases. I don't see too many things on rules. So I'm just going to jump into knowledge articles. And here we have very helpful information regarding business rules, the use of pipelines within business rules, boost documents. So I can get a lot of information and kind of discover all the different components that comprise rules just by reviewing knowledge articles. If I need more information, I can click on subject matter experts, and here we see the subject matter experts and their the accounts they worked on, the versions of Fusions that they've that are associated with the client, and then also the type of component that was involved with the customer. So here I can see our different team members and what they have worked on. So I can reach out to one of these members that have worked on rules, and unfortunately is not on that list, and reach out and ask specific questions, or I can even recommend that this other support member takes over if they're part of the support team. And that's about it as far as functionality. With regard to the actual Salesforce app, this is just another page widget that you can actually place onto different pages. You can change your view. If you can have if you can add this the widget to any different views that your agents use. So you can have it on multiple pages, and you'll get the same results when when agents look at cases. So this is the app in a nutshell. It's highly configurable. What works for our support team might not necessarily work for yours. So this is something we can help you create your knowledge articles and cases to make sure that it works with the way that we're getting the right information to your support agents. So this is about it for me. I'm going to pass it back to Max to take us down the home stretch.
Thanks, Rob. So I want to talk a little bit more about this use case for a few more minutes, and I have another demo that's not Agent Insights, but it is in a related use case. So let me share my screen. I'm going to go to the next slide here. So just to remind everybody what we showed you with Agent Insights first, you know, we went through some cases and we were able to locate related cases in different ways just by selecting a case in Salesforce. So your customer support reps are immediately getting some insight into possible solutions to their problem right away, but just by selecting a case, right? Now, they might want to look up an article on business rules like Rob did during the demo. And we have a knowledge articles tab that goes through any number of data sources, right? And he was bringing up stuff that was on the documentation site for Lucidworks, but we could also pull stuff from Jira or our Wiki Confluence or SharePoint or any number of data sources, right? Not just the stuff that's in Salesforce or not just the stuff that happens to be on one website or something like that. And he also showed you the subject matter expert tab, right? And how the point I want to make about that is we're kind of mining tribal knowledge for this stuff to improve over time. Every time he clicks something, and that's actually giving feedback to the system that's more likely to be of interest to other users with the same query. So let me talk about a few other use cases. You know, we had one with customer support reps trying to close tickets, right? And getting these technical requests that they had to solve. But, you know, the customer support rep is kind of the glue between the users that have a problem, right? That might be customers. And then different people in your organization that have the solution. For example, somebody in engineering, right? There's also different people in the customer organization that have different needs, and we need to cater to them to make their job make them more productive and make them happier with their job, have them go home on time and accomplish their goals. But you can see that the customer support rep is distracted and by a lot of different things, including the customer, and sometimes it makes it difficult for them to communicate with other users. So anything we can do to give them more insight with a minimum amount of training or technical knowledge is useful. And that was one of the underpinning themes for the Agent Insights for Salesforce. But there's certainly other use cases. You know, you're in a call center, right? And your agents can be more effective if they can get fast answers that we could source from different data sources. And we have another product called Smart Answers that can generate answers and recommendations for them automatically. And there's also self-service portals where you're actually exposing this to customers or end users, and they get their answers without having to even engage with your customer support team at all, and certainly not call anybody else. And the end goal of something like a self-service portal would be to deflect calls, right? We want them to stop opening tickets, stop calling, but be happier with the product and have everything working the way they want. I have a clip here. I'm not going to share it. But I have a little demo for you before we close out. So I'm going to show you that one now. So this is another Fusion application on the same data set that we showed you with Agent Insights. So let's say you're a manager, right? Let's say this manager, Rohit, I'm going to clear all the facets, just wants to get some, I have to reload this for a second. And this is an App Studio UI. We have a UI builder to create these, and it's responsive. You can see that it'll go big and small for you. There you go. So you can have it work on your phone or on different web browsers the same way. But let's say this manager just wants to get an insight into how well we're closing tickets and get some insight into things that can be done to improve our ticket close rate. And one of the things you'll notice is, this is all Salesforce cases. I'm not presenting new data. It's just the same Salesforce data that we had before, but we're just exposing it in a different way with a clickable faceted dashboard. So first of all, we'll see that it takes them 3 days to close a ticket out of 16,000 tickets. And that's for the past few years. So that's interesting. So how did we do last year? That's kind of long. I thought 3 days, but now we're down to half a day if I just look at last year. So that tells me that our ability to close tickets has improved in the past year versus previous years. And if I just look at the tickets that we've actually closed, because some are still in work and that's throwing our number off a little bit, we're about 12 and a half hours. So we're closing our tickets in about half a day. That's pretty cool. It was 2,000 of them in the past year. But if I look at it, I can see there's not a whole lot of Seb 1s. There's 169. There's quite a few S2s, right? And you could see that right now, it looks like more than half of them, the reason that the ticket was open is because there was something misconfigured and needed to be reconfigured in order for it to work. And that makes sense. We'll notice, though, that there's a good 415 cases out of these 2,000, right? So that's a decent percentage of them that were just because it was a how-to question. And this would suggest that if we provided better how-to documentation, that maybe we could improve our customer satisfaction and reduce our caseload and focus more on the serious problems like the bugs, right? Like we have bugs, there's not a whole lot, but there's 101 bugs, and those are probably the most difficult to close, right? So if I select S1s, you can see even with the really high severity problems, there's still only a small fraction that are there's only a small fraction here that are actually bugs. So once I get that kind of insight, I can learn some more, by the way, about cases for different accounts and cases for different case owners. But I could also just review all the cases that I've selected with these facets. Okay, well, that's all I have time for today. So I'm going to thank everybody for your time.
Thank you, everyone.